Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast. I'm your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my podcast. Appreciate you being here this week. First and foremost, I'm positive we got a lot of new listeners this week. After my episode last week with Joe Long, I know we got some returning guests. So I appreciate every single person that took some time out to check out my episode with TikTok sensation Joe Long. A brief, if you're new to this, and you don't know who this is, if you didn't see who my guest was last week, let me break it down a little bit. Joe Long is a TikToker who is, pretty much taking the world by storm right now. If you are a TikToker and you are scrolling and you see a guy in a black bob wig who is playing characters Deb and Dawn, that's Joe Long. There's a very, very good chance that you've seen his videos pop up on your TikTok algorithm. Joe Long, fantastic guy who came over to the studio for his very first podcast ever, and we had a conversation that I didn't expect that went differently than I thought. We see this guy on TikTok. We laugh at all of his videos. He's just a silly guy who makes funny videos that people enjoy. And some of them have to be Pittsburgh based. But Joe comes over and, I was assuming, we're just going to be cutting up the whole time. It's just going to be, chatty Cathy, funny, you're a comedian. Let's laugh. But, Joe actually has a pretty interesting, deep, dark past that he has found a way to channel into this comedic relief that we're all getting to see nowadays on his TikTok page. It's a fantastic episode. I had an insane amount of feedback, amazing feedback from so many people that that found me from Joe. On TikTok, there was a boom. I appreciate everyone. If you guys started following me on TikTok because of some of them reels, I appreciate you guys that are on YouTube right now watching this. Please, if you haven't, hit subscribe, leave a comment. And I really want to say thank you for taking the chance to listen to the podcast. And if you guys are here right now, you're obviously interested enough to come to the following episode after you listen to his. So it just really means a lot. I've been doing this for a long time. It means a lot whenever these people take this time out to enjoy what I'm spending my time to create. It really, I cannot say thank yous enough. It just means a lot. That's all I just wanted to say again. Thank you to Joe for coming over and having just a real raw conversation, just being vulnerable with me and just opening up and just, letting it rip. He was hesitant about me putting the episode out just because, it's a revealing episode about, his dark path and that he had to kind of overcome. But I told him that, people would resonate with this, and they sure in the hell did. So thanks again to him and to everyone that is a new listener that came back specifically from him. And, to keep the Jeep riding, I got a great episode for you guys to follow up Joe Long. Joe Long, Pittsburgh legend, already a Pittsburgh legend, known by everyone. I got a pair of legends this week as my guest. This week, I sit down with two of the biggest Pittsburgh icons we got, Mikey and Big Bob. Oddly shaped fellows, hosts of the Kiss Morning Freakshow, and, a couple of great guys. So, I talked to Mikey and Bob 5 years ago on this podcast. So 5 years ago, I was just, a young podcaster trying to figure some stuff out, and I hit these guys up, just pitching them an idea, shooting my shot. Yo, let's do an episode. They're like, all right, let's do it. So they invite me to the old iconic DVE building on the Parkway, the gold reflective building. They're not in there anymore. And now that they're not in there anymore, I'm so thankful that I got that opportunity to go and interview them in that building because it's a pretty legendary building. Everyone has seen it. But 5 years ago, I got to sit down with these guys, talk to them real in depth. That was actually my first video episode ever. I had to bring in a team of my friends to be able to make this happen. So that was my first video episode ever. And, that was the only one I did. But it was a great episode then, but it's been 5 years. So, I was like, I got to hit these guys up again. I got to have them into the studio. I got a studio now. It's beautiful now. It's more of, an opportunity for them to come into my world a little bit and sit down with me at the I'll Call You Right Back studio. And they did. And it was a hell of a conversation, as you would imagine. Just a couple of great guys who, they're not even from here. They've been here so long. They've been on the radio 21 years, which is absolutely mind-blowing. They've been just entertaining us on our drives to work. I was listening to them while I was in high school. I'm talking about work, but while I was in high school, I'm listening to them on my way to high school. These guys have been ingrained in our culture for years, and it's an honor to have them in the studio to learn about more about them. We know about these guys. We know about them being on the radio, but what do you really know about them? Obviously they're personal, they share their personal life in the radio, and that's what makes their show great. That's what makes the 96.1 Kiss Morning Freak Show great. But, we're bringing them into the studio to learn more about them. So we do just that. We talk about their introduction to the radio world. We talk about how they got started in this life. We talk about, how they made their way from Detroit all the way over to Pittsburgh and how they became, the superstars that they are for the morning radio. And everything in between. I learn about stuff that just kind of blows my mind. They started as radio hosts whenever there was no podcast, no social media, none of that stuff. And we talk about, the reality of that, the reality of the growing pains of just, being a radio station. They turned into podcasters, they turned into influencers, they turned into social media, personalities that have to, be active on their accounts and all that stuff. And I find out that they're doing all this stuff. They're doing all this stuff themselves. They got some help now, but we talk all about the inner workings of a successful morning radio show by two great guys. And along with that, I wanted to bring them into the studio to touch on, arguably their biggest event. Stuff a Bus event that 96.1 puts on is absolutely mind-blowing. This year, so basically what Stuff a Bus is Robinson Town Center. Mikey and Bob go there. This year it's going to be December 2nd, which is a Monday, to December 2nd, through December 5th, which is a Thursday. They will be there from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Robinson Town Center, and they will be collecting new and unwrapped toys for the Toys for Tots program. And they call it Stuff a Bus because they have some buses there. And the thing is, you bring enough toys, you stuff a bus, and they tally up the buses. So they've been doing this for 21 years. They are going to roll over 800 stuffed buses of new and unwrapped toys for the Toys for Tots, which is absolutely insane to think about. So like I said, December 2nd through December 5th at Robinson Town Center, you could go there from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and you could donate toys to 96.1's Kiss Stuff a Bus, and you could see Mikey and Bob between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. during the week because they're still doing their work in the daytime. But and then Friday they will be there from I think 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. to collect anything else. The big night, if you want to see everything, is going to be Thursday. I think that's December 4th, but you go out there and it's just a party. Throughout the week, they're going to have other stuff. They told me they got they got a rideable train in the parking lot. They're going to have a Touch a Truck night. They're going to have Marvel night. They got all sorts of wild stuff happening at Stuff a Bus. And I really wanted to have them come in and touch on this event for how amazing of an event it is. The Penguins get involved. So many people get involved. Cam Hayward's involved, and it's warranted to shed some light on something this great. So if you have the means and you would like to help some kids in need, you could participate in Toys for Tots. You could find all the details, 96.1 Kiss FM. Go on their website. All the details are thoroughly documented on there. There's multiple drop-off locations, but if you want to participate in the Stuff a Bus magic, I was about to say madness, but it's really the magic. It's kind of both, I would guess. you could go to the Robinson Town Center December 2nd through December 5th and donate your toy and toss it in the bus and help participate in a great cause. And like I said before, I'm just honored to have these guys in the studio. I'm thankful to be able to make this happen again, and I'm thankful to be putting out some good content. So if you guys appreciate it, if you guys enjoy what I'm doing, please take a second. Rate, review, subscribe, all the things. Leave a comment on the episode, show your boy some love. I appreciate it. If you want to go one step further, you could show some love monetarily on my website, I'llCallYouRightBack.com. I got some dope ass merchandise, and I got it available for you. So you got all the things, and I appreciate you. So without further ado, episode 293. I got it, and one more thing. I got to split this episode into two parts. Got to. I got to leave yins with the good ones. Split it into two parts. So without further ado, episode 293, part 1 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Mikey and Bob from 96.1 Kiss Morning Freak Show.
I got to use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
Oh, these are nice cans.
These are nice headphones.
Nice cans?
I'm messing around, yeah.
I don't know. Did we have, what was it like? What was it like
we were
before?
Bare bones. You just had the board, and I think you had a couple mics, but I don't think we even used headphones at the last one.
Yeah, I think it was more of a gorilla setup there.
Yeah, I think so.
You guys use cans throughout the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just helps you hear everything better.
Yeah.
Except my cord's broke right now, so I fiddle with it all show, and I'm trying to make, and I just keep, after every show, I keep forgetting to go buy a new pair of headphones or a new cord. So.
Yeah.
If you're in control of levels and stuff like that, you got to use the board, or you got to use headphones.
I think it brings people in a little bit more.
Yeah,
people that don't wear headphones, I don't think Edgar Snyder wore headphones, but him being animated, you could hear when people pull away.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's nicer. I mean, you guys obviously kind of get you have mic etiquette, but a lot of people that I have in here, they've never really done interviews.
Right,
so you got to kind of keep letting them know what's going on.
You got to tell them get uncomfortably close to that
good,
mic,
Ain't this cider is pretty good, right?
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's not too bad.
No, it's good.
Psycho cider.
You would think it would taste almost like the equivalent of the beginning smell of a giant eagle.
That's what I was
the pine
expecting. I'm
cones.
all right, this might be a little funky, but it's cider-ish.
Very subtle.
Yeah, it's
very
good.
subtle. Probably mix a beverage in there, an alcoholic beverage.
You
probably
could,
be
yeah,
fine.
easily.
But
I like the Liquid Death ad read you guys got going on right now, man.
officially unsponsored by Liquid Death.
They should throw the sponsorship, right?
Dude, we're working on it. They got some Pittsburgh ties. I've been working on it.
Do they? Liquid
yeah.
Death?
Liquid
Cam's
Death.
an investor.
Yeah.
Hayward.
Will is
and
too,
Wiz. Yeah, Will and Wiz.
all
Yeah.
them. Yeah, we got some Pittsburgh ties. We're going to manifest that in the next couple of years, I guess.
I remember asking him because they were still looking for investors, and it was like 50 grand.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep, I do
It
remember
was like
it.
50 grand. But
How long ago was that?
I mean, not that long
It
ago.
really wasn't that long
A couple
ago.
of years, probably 2.5 years ago.
And that's probably
It's probably worth a lot now.
Probably worth a lot more.
a lot more now. You ever see their
Swinging a miss by Mike and Bob.
You ever see? I mean, I wish I had some change like that to throw around.
It was very hard to go to convince my wife, be like, listen, there's this water, okay? It's like, all I need is 50 grand.
Canned water.
I believe in it, though. Yeah.
I just bought all the home improvement episodes from Halloween on one VHS, and I was watching them. And there's an episode where he wants to buy Harry's Hardware, and he's trying to convince Jill, and it was only like 15 grand back then.
You're like thinking, oh my god.
It was. He was like, I just need 15 grand, and I could be part owners of Harry Hardware. And I was like, damn, it was back in the 90s. It was a different game.
That's so weird thinking like 90s. Because, like, I think especially for people our age, like 90s seem like it wasn't that long ago.
How old are you guys?
42.
Yeah, I'm 42.
Both 42. Yeah. I mean, I'm 34. I feel like the 90s, like obviously the earlier part of the 90s, I don't remember as perfectly.
Yeah.
I remember a good bit of it, I would feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I appreciate you guys coming back in here. It's been 5 years.
That's crazy.
No way.
Yeah, 5 years. September 9th, 2019.
I was trying to think when we did that. Has it really been 5 years?
It was episode 85. It was a 2-part episode. It was technically September 2nd, 2019, but we had a 2-part. But yeah, 5 years ago.
That's nuts, man.
Look at you now with this whole setup and everything. Like, I'll watch the videos and I'll be like, yeah, hopefully we can go there one time. Yeah, hopefully we can come in. I love your setup, man. It's great.
I appreciate it. It's I'm glad because you guys were, nice enough to invite me into the old studio to commandeer that, to kind of, host that podcast in there, because I was having people in my apartment, dragging Rick Seaback in like an 88-degree apartment.
Right.
Dude, it was bad news. He just got over his leg being hurt.
Oh, yeah.
He had to climb up 2 sets of stairs.
You're just feeling awful about
Hot
it.
as shit in there. And it was different. And then he comes over here and it was a little bit different.
That's good. Different vibe.
Vibe. It feels a little bit more
It's a
official.
nice setup, yeah. This is good,
5
man.
years though. I mean, like,
That's crazy.
It's crazy. I was trying to like think about all the shit we talked about back then, and I couldn't even remember it. So if you guys would entertain me to like let me ask you some of these low hanging fruit questions, because I don't remember. You guys aren't from here, right?
Detroit,
No,
like
Detroit
the area
area.
originally.
Yeah.
And when did you guys first come here?
2004.
Yeah, 2004.
And you came here for the radio, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I came here
yeah.
for the job. Yeah.
Were you working in Detroit before that?
Yeah, we worked in Detroit. Like, that's where we started in radio. We just worked at it. That's where we had like an internship and everything like that. And then we got fired from that station.
Oh yeah.
And then we got hired in Philadelphia to do a night show, and we did a night show there for like a year and a half, and that was a lot of fun. We like tore it up, and
That was blurry.
it was a real blurry time. Me and Bob were like, in our very early 20s, and we were just at clubs and bars
Before
all
legal
the time.
drinking age, basically.
Yeah. So, but that was a lot of fun. And then we actually knew the guy who was starting to run KISS here in Pittsburgh, and he was looking for a morning show. And we were sort of like, okay, if we want to do something, we're probably going to have to do a morning show. Like our night show was kind of like a morning show anyway. And
What hours was your night show?
6 to 11, I think it
6
was.
to 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's sort of like flipped from what we do now. Mornings now, but nights. It's like we were
It
going
goes
to
6 to 11. We go to the bar till 2, and then
Do a bunch of appearances and stuff like that. back then?
we used to do a ton. It's just all bars.
Where do you
All
think
bars.
that like, why did that kind of stop? Because I remember like
bars kind of like a lot of bars and clubs kind of like stopped. Like clubs, like we would go out to clubs all the time, and
even here in the first early years, it was always at some type of club on the weekend.
they would just ask you guys to show up, give you some drinks.
Yeah.
get
Sometimes
paid
we'd be live. Yeah, we'd get paid for it, and it was the best.
Wow.
Yeah, but when we were first starting out, like we weren't even old enough to drink, and they would just let us behind the bar and stuff. So we were like, kids in a candy store. I remember this one night, Bob, this bartender's talking to Bob. He's like, "Hey, like this one bartender, he's all like doing tricks and stuff like that, and he's blowing fire, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's doing. So he's like, Bob's like, Bob's all drunk at 20 years old. Don't drink, kids. And Bob's like, let me try that. And the guy's like, yeah, sure. Bob almost blew like his eyebrows off.
Everything almost come off.
Blowing alcohol and the open flames and stuff. So
Back in the Wild West days.
yeah, we had a wild time. But I just think that like generationally, a lot of that's phased out. Like I think a lot of people would more rather go to like a bar or a restaurant, sit with their friends and have a drink or two, rather than go out to like if you're going to a club, like I feel like almost you save that stuff now for like if you're going to Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I can't really stay up past like 10 p.m.
I mean, that too.
Dude, that too.
I don't understand. I was never like a big club goer. Like we would go out whenever we were younger to like Whim and like bar room and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
of course, man.
it was like now I can't stay up. It's rare whenever I have to like pick where I want to go, what events.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like you guys have since we talked. The last time we talked, we were in the iconic DV building.
Yeah, the big gold shiny DV building in Green Tree. Yeah.
And you guys are since moved.
Yeah, we're right in Bridgeville now.
We're like 10 minutes from you here.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, like how's that been for you guys?
Well, a toilet broke.
Yeah, I broke a toilet.
You broke a toilet?
Like, dude, first couple weeks in there, I completely destroyed the toilet. Like, we're on the main floor, we're on the first floor, so the toilet's kind of communal for anybody that's coming out of the building. There's 4 floors. But like anybody that's visiting, any deliveries, it's just an open toilet. Like, we don't have a private set.
Well, it's not like an open toilet. It's not like a Pittsburgh.
No, but there's no like,
there's no men's room. Yeah,
behind our like entrance to the studios or anything, there's no bathroom. So it's like anybody that comes in the building can use that toilet.
Yeah.
So I'm out there. It's the first couple weeks in the building, and I do my thing, and the toilet starts swirling, and it's swirling, and swirling. And I start panicking because it wouldn't stop flushing. I call Mike, like live on the air, and I'm just like, dude, it won't stop flushing. What the hell do I do? All of a sudden, like where the toilet connects to the wall starts shooting water out.
Oh my God.
yeah.
The entire toilet flooded. I became the guy that broke the toilet. Like, I have to live with that. I'm sure everybody else in the building knows I'm the dude that snapped the toilet or broke the toilet.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So I'm a danger to any of your toilets. You shouldn't let me use one if I'm in here.
I don't think it was I think that toilet was just ready to go. Even though it's a new building, I don't think that toilet was installed properly. I think it was just that toilet's time.
Yeah, I'm scared to actually use the toilets at the station now.
Yeah, you had to put it through some testing.
Dude, I called our bosses because it was before like even 9 a.m. like the normal building hours open. I'm just like, dude, something happened to the toilet. I don't know if it was me, but there's water flying everywhere.
We didn't even know who to call. We didn't know like the maintenance guy of the building or anything. So we're just sitting there, and the men's bathroom is flooding. Like the water is shooting out at a constant flush pace and going onto the floor.
And you're on air when this is happening.
Yeah, Bob called me because he didn't know what to do, and I'm like, oh, this is content.
And then I tried denying that I broke the toilet to start out with, and then I finally admitted I was using the toilet and flushed when it happened. So yeah.
Can't write that.
We've had listeners make songs about Bob didn't break the toilet now and everything like that. So that was really we're in a new place now. But no, our
christening.
Yeah,
instead of breaking a champagne bottle, you get to break
nice
a toilet.
and fancy and new, like the building where we're in and everything. So which is nice. The stuff isn't all beat up, kind of like the DV building was. That DV building, I mean,
it's seen some better days.
It's seen some stuff. It's done some stuff.
What's even in there now?
I think the studios are still there. Like, to be completely honest, I think
we still have a lease on the building, so I think the studios are just collecting.
But there's not like radio stations in there now, are there?
No, there's nobody. Like, it's like basically Century 3 abandoned mall. Like, you could walk through there and it's like the ghost of DVE like lurking in the hallways.
Yeah. God, did you guys actually get to go to Century 3 ever?
Yeah. We still lived here when it was open. Yeah.
We didn't see Century 3
in its prime,
in its heyday, like the 80s or 90s. But we saw like the tail end. We saw the sad.
We saw Stephen Barry's or whatever it was called in there.
Dude,
Stephen Barry,
dude?
It was like
clothes never fit us.
Wasn't it like all hoodies were like $5?
It was crazy. The Stephen Barry's was like all college teams too, wasn't it?
But they all made jokes like the ramming Trojans and the weird shit like that.
Dude, yes.
Oh yeah, that was funny. That was like that was like the thick of my 9th through 12th grade. There was always the Stephen Barry's kids. Every different shirt. Now, I mean, 5 years. I mean, like, how long have you guys been on the radio now?
It's going to be 21 coming up in January.
21 years. That's
nuts.
That's crazy. It's crazy to think about it. And you guys like
we're Yinzers, man. We've lived here longer than where we grew up, any place that we've ever lived. Like this is, we
got married here, had our kids here and everything. And most people just assume that we're from here because we've been part of people's lives in Pittsburgh for so long. But, not a lot of people, I guess, unless they're listening to us, sort of give our origin story. Everybody just thinks these guys been here forever. They're probably from here too. Like sometimes Bob one time got mistaked because some lady was just like, "Oh, my aunt went to prom with you" or something like that. Bob's just like, "Yeah, no, she didn't. No."
Like that kid's aunt's been telling that story all these years. It's just some other random.
That's the story she dies on. That was Bob from the radio.
She was just ashamed to go to prom with just he's just the big guy. He was the guard on the football team. He didn't have a date or something. Now she just tells everybody, "I went to prom with Big Big Bob on the Morning Freak Show.
All living a lie.
That's all right. Let her have it. Let her have it. That's all she can go home to.
Let her have the story. She went to prom with Bob. That's right.
I think that it's like pretty. I mean, it's pretty incredible because, like, you know, I was thinking about radio stations and, like, you know, there's obviously like syndicated shows and there's people that have been on the radio for a long time.
Yeah.
But you guys, like, you know, you guys still feel like, you know, you still feel authentic.
Yeah.
You know, when we listen to it, you guys still feel like that there's still, you know, the roots are still in the city.
There's still some magic.
Yeah. Is there a lot of Pittsburgh? I mean, is there a lot of radio stations in general that are still local, or do you notice it being, you know, more syndicated?
There's definitely a lot that still have like local ties, but yeah, syndication is just, it's already done. Like, it's already so widespread that there's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. Like, at one point somebody thought it was a good idea to just like, well, it could be local, but it's better if we have like this one person do 50 shows instead of paying 50 people to do one shows. And, you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it's
Most of the time they get
horrible.
what they pay for. Yeah.
Most of the time you're not going
Like,
to
there's
win.
nothing relatable about a New York dude to somebody in
Exactly
the
that.
middle of Cleveland. You know, like, that's not.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
going to relate to that person.
from a listener's point of view, you would think that it wouldn't sell as good, but
Yeah.
I guess it like kind of evens out with, like, you know, having to pay one person.
No,
rather
most of the
than-
time you're right about the selling part. It doesn't sell as good, and
Yeah.
it doesn't get as good ratings or anything else that, you know, radio's based on.
But I don't think a lot of people do it like me and Bob either here in this city. Like, we're like, like not even just like, oh, we're the best. It's just we're different. So
you
it
created
works.
your own subculture. You
Yes.
know, you guys have your own subculture. Like, you guys got, you know, have running jokes for years and years and
Yeah.
years. And, you know, you created something that people could attach themselves to in an authentic way.
Yeah, and I think one thing that really works for us is when our show really, you know, started taking off, getting big, and we started getting clients interested and people wanted to use us as influencers and stuff, I think one of the things that we really did that still to this day pays off for us and has us with so many great relationships with like Pittsburgh staple brands like, you know, Henny Jewelers and things like that have been here for generations, is I think we really worked with clients and different local businesses to like, we're going to make you part of the show. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just going to be like, give us we're going to read your commercial word for word. Like, you're going to be brought up on the show. We're going to do a commercial that's going to sound like our show, not like we're reading. And I think we've done that so many times successfully with different people that like people will come to us now and be like, I want that for me. You know,
Yeah.
they'll reference other, you know, clients we have and be like, can you do a jingle like the Armina Stone jingle, but do it for me or something like that?
And at this point, we only take, like, if we're doing client stuff where we're like reading their commercials or they're part of the show or sponsoring something on our show, it's only people that we have dealt with.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not
Yeah.
us just taking random money from somebody that we have no clue.
Yeah, like no ties to personally that you guys could like get behind.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to say no at after 20 years and be
I
like, no,
bet.
we're not doing that.
Right.
It
Yeah.
boils down to authenticity.
Yes.
You know, as a
Dude, it's
listener.
So it's
You know,
so true.
If you're like trying to push some shit that, like, you know, I've had people that wanted to sponsor this that were like construction companies, and I'm just like, I don't know anything about you. Like,
Right,
you know,
right,
like,
right.
What would that? How would that work for me? But I mean, you guys in the beginning, whenever this started, you mentioned, you know, when you started to like kind of catch on, people wanting to like get involved with you in that way. When was that? Like, how long were you guys on the radio here before you kind of got your footing?
First show, man. Like, right out the box.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah, Pittsburgh
fell
jumped
in love
on
with
us.
as soon as the mics went on.
Yeah.
I mean, so before
Like, before we were on, is that what you're going to ask? Like, what was on before we were on? Because
Yeah.
before we were on,
Well, there was a build up too. We had a nice promo.
we did
coming
have
in.
a good promo leading up to us coming on. But before we were on, there was a syndicated show. The dude was in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
And he recorded it like days before the show. So it was nothing even relevant. We
Yeah.
were walking into pretty much a blank slate. So the first day that we went on, it's just like, we're here. Like,
It was just refreshing because, like you said, the guy was out of Seattle. So I think just live local morning show with the microphones on was just like, whoa, wait, what's this? You know?
Yeah.
And we had some pretty weird promos running on the station, like little recorded things that were playing, like teasing that we were coming. So we sort of set the groundwork for a month, like,
wow,
okay, we're coming. There's a new morning show coming, new morning show. So I think we had a lot of people just tuning into like curiosity, and then like we just stuck with so many people. And then
was that like something that you guys like thought about in the beginning, or was that the radio that kind of was like, yo, we need to do a rollout for you guys and try to like, you know, set people up to know that you're coming?
It was,
I don't remember.
It was, I think
21 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was just like our boss at the time like was just like giving us the idea, like, you guys got to do this. I just remember they were really weird.
They were really strange.
It was like the stranger the better, and we wanted it to stick out because I think a lot of radio is very similar, very boring. It's so hard to cut through.
Yeah.
And that's how we came to the city. And then we came to the city and we started doing listener numbers. This is really how it was. There's no big like, yeah, I mean, I look back at it now and just like, damn, we had the best marketing strategy, but it wasn't like planned like that.
Yeah.
It just sort of happened. We came on and we were like, nobody's listening to this station in the morning. So you call up, let us know who you are, what you do, a little bit about yourself. We'll write your name down in a notebook with a Sharpie pen, and we'll keep numbering you. And we did that for years. And I still have 3 full notebooks, spiral notebooks, full of people's names. Never converted it to a database.
Wow.
Wrote them down by hand. There's like over 20,000 people that we wrote over like probably our first 4 or 5 years by hand.
Then people could call and be like, I'm listener number 342, and we'd flip through real quick and be like, hey, Janet, the nurse, like, how's it going?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was I think a really different way to be honest. I'm telling you, honesty in our field.
Yeah.
And like, especially what you're doing here, like podcasting, like people can see through the bullshit so easily.
100%.
And if you're authentic, you're already halfway there.
Yeah.
That's like the best advice I give. Just be yourself.
We were never like polished radio people that you know hear or expect to hear on radio stations with their like radio voice and everything's perfect.
Well, really good radio voice there.
Like our stupidity worked for us the entire time, and it still does to today. Like we screw up all the time and just roll with it, and you know I think people enjoy it and accept us. And
you appreciate that as like any sort of like, you know, unrefined, you know, it just feels real.
People mess up in real life. Like nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but just look at us too. We're not Ryan Seacrest. We're like, we make the human number 10. We stand next to each other. Like we're not
oddly shaped fellas.
We're oddly shaped fellas. And I think the way we came in specifically like the honesty we had with people, like we told people nobody's listening to the radio station and we're here to change that, and everybody just sort of, you know, was just when we were going through different issues and when we're getting married too and when we're having kids, like listeners go through all that with you, you know. So
it's a way to relate, and you adding a listener number is a way to like involve people in the show to a certain extent, even just a small bit, you know, just to kind of tie people in.
I mean, that was before even like you could make a Facebook page for your show or anything, you know, like that was before those times.
That's interesting too, to think that, you know, just before social media and everything. So like, you know, listening back then was a different way of like, you know, gaining news rather than just like watching your, you know, your typical TV.
Dude,
that makes me feel old.
The crazy thing is we started doing our show on 96.1 KISS. Like we would be done at 10 o'clock and the show would be over.
Yeah.
And there would be no podcast. It was just like, well, hope you heard it live. You know,
oh, I didn't even think about that.
Isn't that crazy to think about? Like, you used to have to listen to the live radio to get our show.
Dude, there was no YouTube.
Yeah, that's weird. It is weird now because, like, you know, I feel like, you know, we obviously take it for granted. Now, let me ask you this real quick before it goes out of my mind. You mentioned before you guys were on the air. You had a syndicated show, and like for people that are listening that don't know what that is, that's just another person in a different, bigger city. Then they broadcast that to different radio stations. Now, I feel like one of like the bread and butters for you guys is like, you know, talking about Pittsburgh sports, involving that, the comments, everything. You know, how do you think a how do people with syndicated shows even navigate not being able to communicate on sports in that level? Because I feel like, I mean, maybe not all cities are as rampant and rabid for, you know, the Steelers and the Pens and the Pirates that we are. But like, I just thought about that now. It's like, you guys could speak to that because you're fans, you're involved with it, but how does that happen?
That's why so many people lose their jobs in our industry. That's why so many shows go away. And that's why so many shows never connect with people, for that exact reason that you're saying. You can't come to a city like Pittsburgh and on a Monday after a Steeler game, don't even mention it or act like nothing happens. You know? You just can't do that if you want to be, because then you're not part of the city.
Yeah.
You know, like we might have a handful of people who don't care about the Steelers. Sure.
Yeah.
But like this city shuts down for Steeler games, you know?
Yeah.
If you're not talking about what's going on in the city, and especially sports, like you're just going to lose. Like that's it. You're just going to lose. You're setting yourself up to fail.
Like the syndicated shows nowadays, like a lot of them, if they aren't on like a huge national level, they'll do their show, send it over to the station that they're sending it to. And then they'll record like
some cut-ins.
Yeah. 1 or 2 cut-ins that's just like, how about those Steelers?
So
and it just sounds so stupid.
And
like,
you can tell it's just completely faked. Or no, the best is when somebody just like reads names of cities. If you're listening to the radio and you hear somebody just say names of cities and say hello to everybody in Cannonsburg and Wexford today. Nah, they ain't in Pittsburgh. Who would say that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Who would say that? That's not a norm. See, the reason why me and Bob, I think, have worked with our listeners and stuff is we just talk like people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, regular human beings that are not, you don't feel too far removed.
Yeah, you wouldn't say things like that. So, with syndicated shows, it's usually a cost-effective move that a company will do.
Yeah.
They don't do it because they then expect that show to win every place it is.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're not putting on a show from...
Dude, there's no Howard Stern anymore. Like, Howard's the best example of what a syndicated show that wins everywhere would be.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no Howard anymore. Like,
there's not someone that is, not really... Like, Howard is a little bit more... everyone could kind of get on that because he's not really, like... talking about any certain area or anything. He's more just highlighting people's
generic. Yeah.
Everybody knew he was Howard Stern.
But like that too now is just podcasts.
That's it.
Like it's just people can get what exactly they want talked about by the people they want talking about it like that now.
Yeah.
So like, and
they also don't have to deal with the ads, commercials, things like that.
And if you do, it's like it's minimal, or it's done so well by the people that do the podcast that you almost don't care.
Yeah.
And you're almost just like, I like this podcast so much when they have to tell me about this client, I don't even care. I won't even hit the 15 or 30 button or something, or
they'll use them.
Or they'll actually use them.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys like starting off and you guys starting to like implement things that involve the city, and you guys did like the Halloween party and everything like that. But I originally hit you up to wanted to kind of talk on Stuff a Bus. Whenever I talked to you guys before, I kind of spent most of the time talking about your backstory, talking about how you guys got to where you are. Everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows what you guys do. But, one of the things that always stuck in my mind that I always remember, specifically you guys for is Stuff a Bus. Like it's always something that made a buzz. And, we just finished up October, we're running into Christmas. Stuff a Bus is right around the corner. When does something like that come into play? Like, did you guys ever, what year did that happen? And before Stuff a Bus, did you guys do anything along the lines of that, like yearly type of events?
I mean, never on that level, but like when we were on in Philadelphia for the year, we did do a Stuff a Bus there. And so we kind of brought that here with us, and that started year one here.
Did a Stuff a Bus in Detroit, too.
Did a Stuff a Bus in Detroit, too, when we were just doing, like...
You started that the first year here?
There was 3 Stuff a Buses that me and Bob were a part of before Pittsburgh. So technically, like, we've been doing Stuff a Bus for a few extra years than we actually say.
Never at the level we're at now, though. Like, it was never even close.
God, no. It hasn't even been close to what we've done in Pittsburgh, but... It's our thing, man. It's like the one thing that we do every year where not only is it giving back, and for those people who don't know, it's basically like a parking lot where we set up shop for the week, and we have school buses that we fill full of new unwrapped toys for the Marines Toys for Tots program. This will be the 21st year that we've done it, and it's such a well-oiled machine, but also, and we're helping out kids, and it's a good thing, but like, it's the week of the year that we see most of our listeners. Like, just come out, you can talk to us and, meet us and take a picture with us, just talk with us like a normal person. Like, I know there's a charity aspect to it, but I love just talking to people that listen to our show. I just love hearing their stories of coming out and donating with their kids and families every year and stuff like that. That's the stuff that, like, you can go through all your stuff through the year and everything, but like when we end the year sort of with Stuff-A-Bus, man,
just get to hang out.
Oh, it just makes you feel so good.
I think we called it before last year. I want to say we called it the last morning of Stuff-A-Bus is the closest thing we'll ever get to feel what it's like a Steelers winning a championship and being on that Steelers side, because it's so overwhelming when, like, last year we stuffed 68 buses.
That's insane.
That's just tractor trailers worth of toys. And since all the Toys R Us's went out of business, that was always the main place where Toys for Tots locally would get all their toys, and nationally in different cities. But
they'd always have those boxes like by at the registers and stuff, with the big Toys for Tots boxes.
That was people's main drop-off point. And like even years in, we started becoming more of a drop-off point locally. But at this point, we are the main supplier of toys for Tots in Pittsburgh. Through Toys for Tots, Pittsburgh Cares gets them out to all the families and kids that could use them. Yeah. So it's awesome to see the hundreds of bikes and tractor trailers worth of toys.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's overwhelming at the end of the week for us.
It's got to be a marathon. Like, you guys are that week got to be just crazy.
We started planning Stuff-A-Bus for this year like almost immediately after last year's ended. It was like once the holiday break was over, our first Stuff-A-Bus meeting for this year's Stuff-A-Bus was back in January.
If you're listening to this in the Pittsburgh area, we're at the Robinson Town Center. That's where we do it. We're there the Monday after Thanksgiving. We always start that Monday after Thanksgiving, and it flows throughout that Friday at 10 a.m. So,
what date is that this year? Is that like the 24th?
I think it's the 2nd of December.
No. I knew there was good. It's the 2nd, right?
Yeah, it's
second through
because Thanksgiving's late this year, so it's the 2nd of December through the 6th at 10 a.m. Yeah.
We have so much going on this year. It's hard to Stuff-A-Bus has grown so big that it's like hard to remember things. And then when I get asked something simple like what date is it, I'm like, oh man,
I know that escapes you.
No, it's the 2nd through the Friday will be the 6th. We're there until 10 a.m. So.
And this year we're going to cross over the 800 buses stuffed throughout all the years, which is just nuts. Like, Jesus, 800 total buses,
800 tractor trailers full of toys.
It's been 791 buses stuffed full of toys in 20 years. Yeah,
that is insane to think about.
Yeah. First year was 3 buses.
Really? I was just going to ask, what was the first year compared to like what it is now?
Dude, first year was wild.
Where was that at?
The back end of a Taco Bell in Miracle Mile over in Monroeville.
Miracle Mile in Monroeville, right next to
Like, you could literally smell like the grease traps. Like, we were in a pop-up camper. Yeah. And it had no heat, no power, no nothing. And we were camping out there 24 hours a day.
You guys were 22?
Yeah. And I remember that year there was a snowstorm one day and then an ice storm another day. And my parents were out to visit that week and went and got us like a plug-in heater, and we had like a little generator to plug it in, which was probably a fire hazard looking back at it.
Yeah.
But I remember the floors of the pop-up trailer got all wet, and then they froze. So it was like we had an ice skating rink inside, and we were laying on top of it. It was a disaster, and we ended up doing 3 buses that year, and we're like, dude, we have peaked. Like, that is so many toys.
Yeah, we're like, that's it. We don't even need to do that. That's 3 buses of toys, so much.
So, like, the first year you guys did that, you brought that to the table. Like, is it just you two in that parking lot? Obviously, now there's a team that is, like, trying to help make things go a little bit smoother for you. But back then, was it just you guys?
It was us and just everybody at the radio station. Yeah. And, but that's not, like, a ton of people. Yeah. Definitely more... back then than it is now, but No, we get a lot of volunteers now and stuff like that too. That'll
Like
come out
Pittsburgh
and help.
Cares locally comes out and helps us, and
Like loading and unloading
The
tractor
Marines,
trailers
yeah.
and buses and things like
Wow.
that. So, like, but those early years, like, man, there was a lot of work that like me and Bob would do, and still to this day, like everybody we work with, like from our bosses and stuff, like you'll come out to the parking lot and see like, you know, our boss carrying boxes across the parking lot. Like everybody knows Stuff Bus Week is like
All hands on
lock
deck.
in, get it done, you know, and because it's just for a good cause. It makes you feel, you know, good. So
Hell yeah.
but yeah, it's those first few years we've definitely grown a lot.
Were you
since
guys
then.
camping there overnight?
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
sleeping
yeah.
out there and everything like that.
dude, those first couple of years we didn't even shower. Like
No, it was bad, man.
for some reason we thought that would like make us like, oh yeah, it'd make it more worth it. And then there was one year where we're just like, we're gonna get a hotel like down the block so we can shower at least, just because we were miserable by like
Yeah,
day
yeah.
3, day 4
Yeah.
out there. Like it was awful. Not
Getting
only-
weird rashes,
Yeah,
you
like
know,
this-
like I'm just sitting there itching my crotch because I haven't washed it in 3 days.
It's smelling bad.
Man.
And then we took a shower and we're like, what the hell were we doing for these first couple of years? Just
I
like,
know.
why?
You were keeping it. You were keeping the honor in it.
We didn't earn any extra stripes or
That's
anything.
what it was. We were keeping it too real.
I guess,
think, 'cause
yeah.
We were just like, no, we're out here roughing it, and it's funny because now people sort of come up to us. You like, they look at we have a like an sort of RV that has like our broadcast
Yeah.
stuff in it and everything, and you know, people that work for the station can go in there and kind
Little
of
home base.
Yeah, a little
It's a much
escape.
better setup.
Little- oh yeah, much better setup. But it's so funny because people look at that and then go to Bobby, like, you guys live out here. Where it's like, no, you think we're crazy? No, we don't live out here. No.
So it's been multiple. How many different locations has it been?
We went to Miracle Mile in Monroeville. We stayed there for, I don't know, 5-6 years. And then they got sold and had some stuff happen or whatever. We moved to Monroeville Mall.
Yeah.
There were a couple of years there. They moved us around the parking lot as they had storefronts open in different spots. Basically, at the end of Monroeville Mall, we were in an employee parking lot, and we're just like, we need to search for someplace else to go. And the Robinson Town Center people, somebody reached out to them, and they've been nothing but nice to us for,
Oh, they're the best.
for years and years
How
now.
long have you guys been there?
It's got to be close to 10 years,
Probably
right?
getting close to that.
Yeah.
But they're the best. It's like, because we always had the problem and I mean, everything was like great in Monroeville, and that was the start of Stuff-A-Bus. But just people came in and like bought the mall and stuff, and then you'd have to explain Stuff-A-Bus to them, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I don't think we're giving up mall space during the holidays." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. It's gonna bring so much business though, and everybody loves Stuff-A-Bus." And you know, again, let's talk about syndication stuff. People from out of town, they don't get that when you like. But then if you have local people, you say Stuff-A-Bus, they know what you're talking
Ringing
about.
bells.
Yeah, Robinson Town Center is owned by local people.
Now, I mean, you guys starting this in the beginning. Obviously, you were on the radio, and people were, understanding who you are from there. But it's like, when does it make that first bump? If you had the first year 3 buses, when does it start to like really catch on?
Do you have the list?
I do have the list right in front of me.
Mike has a running list.
You
of
got
year
everything
by year.
down.
Yeah,
Wow.
Running list, man.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So
we hang on to it every year and go over it just because
we forget.
Dude, it's a
Wow.
wild ride too. It's like
So,
crazy.
do you want to go every year?
Yeah, you- you'd probably
2004,
skip.
first year is
Yeah.
3 buses. Then the next year is 6 buses.
Okay.
So it doubled. Then it was 12 buses.
Hold on, time
my
out.
God.
That's when I think we knew we had.
At 6 buses, though, we had to stop taking buses from the bus company. So we had to bring in a tractor trailer because the kids had to get to school. Like they literally stopped
Yeah.
us and they're like, we
Oh
can't
my
give you
God.
guys like 9 buses because we still have to have functioning buses on the road to get kids back and forth to school.
Yeah.
So basically what we do now is we have 3 buses stationed. We'll load, unload as people bring their toys and put them on the tractor trailer.
Rather than taking 70 school buses.
It's almost, it's impossible. But yeah, it took us 2 years to get to the point of impossible stacking the parking lot full of
Wow.
buses.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah.
But it was also like, did we really think we were just was this gonna keep growing and we would just keep getting school buses?
Well, and we doubled and doubled and doubled. What were you at? 12 on 3 years?
3 and then 6. So the most school buses that we ever physically had in a parking lot was back in 2005, and it was 6 buses.
Yeah,
Six buses.
That was the most buses we ever had physically in a parking lot. And then we knew for the third Stuff-A-Bus year, we knew we had to change something because it just wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
Like that.
And people are just walking up and you're trying to direct traffic. Just know we're on that bus over there on that corner of the parking lot. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
Just a chaotic
it was.
chaos.
Yeah. So it was,
Man,
but
that's
after
awesome.
after that, we went from 6 buses to 12 buses.
Yeah, so it
to
doubled.
double again and have like double digits.
That was year 4?
That was year 3.
Well, what's year 10?
Year 10. Okay, year 10, 47.
Holy shit.
It jumps.
Yeah, that's a good jump.
47. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I think 2019 was our biggest year, right before everything hit. What was that?
Yeah,
What was
70.
70 buses.
2019, that was 70 buses.
My goodness.
And then we had a couple, we did it through the pandemic and the shutdown, and we used to drive through stuff, and we had a couple, obviously down years. And then last year we bounced back up to 68. So
I think it's very it's scary to say, but I think it's very attainable to get more than 70 buses full of toys this year. I really do. And usually we don't say that. Usually we're just like, any toy matters. But I just feel like this year, like people are just going to be in the giving spirit, and I think people are just going to come together this year and donate. And it's like we have so many different ways that people can donate now. Like I know it's a toy drive, and you have to come out Robinson Town Center and everything, and drop off toy, but like.
Dude, you have a coaster? You didn't tell me?
That's all right.
Don't hear. I'm not going to raw dogging it the whole
derail
time
this.
on your nice table. What am I doing?
I'm not derailing this.
You're going to leave
Cut me off. I know. What am I doing?
No, that's all right.
So, but over the years, we've gotten different ways because obviously now with podcasting and with social media and all that, we have so many listeners that are even outside of Pittsburgh that want to be involved with the show stuff. So Stuff-A-Bus, I can't make it to Robinson Town Center. How can I donate? Well, you can donate online. You can make a monetary donation. So one year, the Penguins came to us because the Penguins used to do like the drop-off toys at like one of the December games and everything like that. But they weren't getting like that many toys. Like, not a lot of people were going to buy toys and bringing it to a Pens game. So they would do okay. But they came to us one year and they wanted to, how do you guys do this? What do you do? And what's sort of the secret? And can we be a part of Stuff-A-Bus? So that was one of the cool things I think about Stuff-A-Bus to us is like when the Penguins came to us and are just like, this is something, we want to be part of this. So through the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation now, we have an Amazon wish list where people can go on from anywhere and buy toys.
Wow.
People can donate online, like monetary donation. If you just want to get it done quick, $50 or something like that, you can do that online.
And the Lady Pens, the wives and girlfriends of the Penguins, they match up to $10,000 in donations. So it's pretty cool, man.
And then this year,
kind of blows my mind when I think about it.
It really is, and that's why that's why I hit him up and I was like, I'd love to talk more about Stuff-A-Bus because I feel like that it's like, it's one of the events around the city that are like, it's a big deal. Yeah. Every year it's a big deal, and every year it's like, it gets people in the mood to, the holidays are coming. For sure. So I kind of wanted to know how it all came to be because it's a beautiful thing you guys are doing, and every year it seems to be, just growing because people know how good of an event it is.
Well, and every year I think we think of how to do things better and how to make things run smoother. And also, like, we still want to get more toys. Like, at the end of the day, we want to get creative ways or different ways to get the message across that, like, there's a lot of kids in our area that are going to need toys this holiday season. So one of the new things we're doing this year is we got together with the Terminal, the Strip District. Strip District is all, like, redone that area and everything. It's all fancy, and they got Putt Shack down there. You could drink and eat and
all
play.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's all, like, redone. So they're doing a collection for Stuff the First Bus at Stuff-A-Bus. So for the month of November, they're doing a toy collection at the Terminal down there in the Strip District.
Oh, yeah.
Collecting toys for the month. And then we got Cam Hayward coming out with GBU Life on Tuesday. Hold on. Tuesday, November 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So me, Bob, Tall Kathy, from the station, we're going to be out there with Cam, and we're just going to be collecting toys. So, like, we've never had Cam involved with Stuff-A-Bus. We've always had, like, usually, like, a player from one of the teams or a couple of the teams come out.
And to walk in that first morning just knowing we already have one bus stuffed is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to just have them involved and have Cam involved this year. So
I know that he's real involved in the city. I know, I see Edgar Snyder talking about him and posting his stuff, and I see that he's always trying to do stuff for the city.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you guys, you know, throughout the week, it's like, I mean, what's like a every day for you guys? Like, you're broadcasting there too, right?
Well, we used to do our show live there, but like the mornings are pretty slow because everybody's going to work, everybody's going to school.
That's a good point.
But the night times are like, they're just crazy. Like, especially Thursday night of Stuff a Bus is just like, we will have a parking lot full of people. We will have like a traffic line. It gets crazy in the evening.
Like Monday through Thursday, we do our show still in the studio as normal.
Yeah.
Like normal show, just promoting the, you know, come out to Stuff a Bus it started.
Or we're talking about what happened the night before.
Or the night before, and we'll be out there. We go out there usually like 5 o'clock on through whenever it stops. Like, because that's the busy time. Usually people will come out, have dinner, grab something, or just have dinner at their house and then bring the toys out with their kids, their families, and everybody will come out and see us. Like, you know, if you want to come out and want to see the busy times and, you know, be caught up in all the Stuff a Bus magic that's happening, which is pretty cool. 5 o'clock on pretty much Monday through Thursday night out there is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's when it gets like
this year
crazy.
we have a train set up in the parking lot some of the nights.
Way.
Yeah,
like a little holiday
like every year we try to expand it a little more and a little more.
You guys got a Santa Claus up there?
We've had a Santa Claus before, but we had like a janky Santa one year, so we started.
That's even better.
No, dude, it wasn't like a good Santa. No, I don't know.
The kids are like, why is this beard hanging off of it?
Like we have like princesses.
We have
like
a
the
princess
Disney
superhero night. Yeah. We'll have all
We have
that
a touch
going
a
on.
truck night
Touch
where
a
we
truck
have like
night.
a bunch of emergency vehicles, like the bomb squad comes out and everything.
wow.
Like
That's
it's not
pretty cool.
just it's not just us standing in a parking lot
No.
anymore. Just like thank you for your toy. You know, hanging
Been
out.
fortunate enough to have some people that want to be involved.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's it. And like, we just think of what it's like because we see so many families that want to come out to Stuff a Bus to teach their kids about giving back. It's an easy thing. They hear it on the radio station that they listen to all the time. So, you know, and then the kids might ask mom and dad, like, hey, take us out. Can we go to Stuff a Bus? And then they make a whole thing out of it. We want it to, like, you know, look sort of
Be an
cool.
event rather than just like
the crazy
drop off and be gone.
The crazy thing is too, like we'll have families that come back year after year, so they'll show us the pictures from the previous years, and we'll have kids that start like, you know,
That's
2 years
awesome.
old, and now they're 16.
Yeah, that's
and we have
awesome.
our picture every year with them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the family stories are
That's
cool.
really, really cool.
But there's always somebody out there collecting toys and taking toys in, even if we're not there, we're, you know, taking a shower or doing something or just, you know, trying to reset with our families or something like that. But there's always somebody out there. And then we do our show that Friday morning to wrap up Stuff Bus. We do our show live out there Friday morning because that's like, you know, the last morning, the big
final
total and
push,
everything like that.
So you guys out there being out there in the evening, you know, what time do you guys get to the studio? Like, what's your day to day every day for the studio?
I get there about 5. Bob comes in about 5:45.
Yeah. My alarm goes off about 4.
Yeah.
And then,
So what time do you guys usually go to bed?
It depends on what's on TV. It depends on, you know, how important the Pens game is or, you know, like if it's Steelers Sunday night football or Monday night football, it's like, oh, man.
I'm awful. Like if I'm sleeping before 11, it's a good night usually, you know.
Really?
Yeah, you're a maniac, man. I keep telling you got to sleep more. Just shut your laptop and get some sleep.
Well, what keeps you up? TV for you? Like, are you a scroller or are you a TV guy?
Scroller.
Yeah.
Looking for stuff for the show, funny things we could do, try to find stuff like that. Every now and then I'll sink into TV, but I watch a lot of garbage TV if we're being completely honest.
That's good. I mean, like we all have our vices.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like the world that we're in now, you just touched on it. It's very interesting because like we have these computers attached to us every day.
Yeah.
And you guys are very topical. You use, you know, things that are happening, whether it be local, whether it be, you know, national, whatever. But you find a way to weave it in the fabric of your show.
Yeah.
I mean, are yins both just keeping eyes out and like, you know, texting each other like, look how funny this is?
It's only us.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have like other shows have producers and staffs and you know, other people on the show. It's always just been me and Mike doing everything. So like everything from our podcast production, to post on our social media. Anything,
You guys are doing all that?
anything for our
Everything.
show. Yeah.
Is that by choice or is that
No.
by? Okay.
No, trust me, we asked for help.
It's by,
gonna say,
by
I was-
budget and
Yeah, it's
everything
by,
else.
yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, for you guys to be able to, keep what you're doing.
It doesn't
that's-
though, because other shows have like
Yeah, no.
multiple people.
I know.
We proved that we can do it ourselves for so long that they're just like, all right, these
and now,
guys.
now you
Yeah.
put your foot in your mouth. You're like, they're fine. They can make it happen.
It could be worse. We could have real jobs though.
That is true. Yeah.
Very true.
I always think about that when we're going through something where it's just like, oh man, this would be so much better. The show would be better if we could do this, or if we had this, or why don't we have this in the budget? Then I just think I get to work with my best friend every morning. It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
But yeah, there is definitely, we're stretched pretty thin right now as far as like the 20 years that we've been building this and everything like that, especially since, like we started talking about how there was no podcasting, there was no YouTube when
Yeah.
we actually started in this career field, and now there is. And it's like, well, we don't have people that do like all that stuff for us. Like we got a guy, Steve, who's been editing video for us.
Shout out to Steve.
That is amazing. Like he's been helping us, but like, yeah, it would be pretty interesting to see like one day what would actually happen if we did have
Like if you had a resource to be able
Yeah.
to just put
Yeah.
towards that.
Steve
Yeah.
just listened, loved the show, and created No Context Mikey and Bob on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve.
so
Love that account.
Steve's actually like getting paid to edit video now. So
That's awesome.
yeah, he rules, man. He's good. And honestly, like just since we've had him editing like video clips of us, like we always knew that we had like a good show that had good content.
Yeah, but you just don't have the
People
bandwidth
liked
to
our
make
show.
it happen.
There's only
And
so
then-
many hours in a day.
I know. So like I go right home, say hi to my wife, my daughter, whatever, and then it's just like I gotta go edit video, you know? And then we edit video. So
I don't think people understand how long it takes, to edit video. And, audio is one thing. This was just an audio podcast for the first 6.5 years. And I've recently just, shot myself in the foot by doing this video editing, and I'm just doing all the shit
Yep.
myself. And it's just
a lot, man.
Yeah, man.
It takes a lot of time to do
a lot,
everything.
yeah.
So to think that you guys are pretty much the only ones that are making your shit work it's impressive. I mean, you guys, I feel like what comes with 20 years of experience working with your best friend also kind of comes with, not necessarily like an autopilot setting, but like you guys could kind of make it work whether you're having, bad days, good days. I would assume that that's kind of built in with your friendship over the years. But, what's like a prep for a regular show? Do you guys do a lot of prep for it?
we do, but we don't. And there's always like room
It never goes the way we prep.
Yeah.
Like there's never anything that goes the way we prep. Like
Yeah.
I'll do an email with like a rundown of a ton of stuff that we find like throughout the day, or like
This is every day you do something like that?
yeah. That's what I do a lot at night. Like that's what I'm spending my night doing. I just keep like an email open and just kind of dumping things and editing things throughout it that we could talk about, or like things that are topical that.
Is that something that is better for both of your, mental capacity to have like kind of an outline on just somewhat of a structure?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I've never really thought of it that way, but
It's
yeah,
always
I'm sure.
been like that, really, though?
Yeah, I was always the kid who hated homework in school. Like I never did my damn homework, and now I do homework every night, like hours of it. But
This
like,
is fun homework, I feel.
yeah, it's a little different.
We got a new stairwell fart we could
Yeah,
slide
just-
into here.
trying to find something funny on TikTok and then see if somebody got naked and arrested.
Dude, Pittsburgh
like,
scanner account is just
Shout out to the
I did
scanner.
that, yeah.
oh
right
man,
here.
the scanner.
Just awesome.
my dog.
Just awesome. We've
That's my
taken that
boy.
and incorporated it
I
throughout
know.
our show.
We talk about it. We had a party here the other day, and he was over, and my wife and his wife. Randomly enough, my wife does wedding makeup. Someone that she works with does wedding makup as well, and they work together. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I randomly texted this Pittsburgh scanner account before I realized who it was. DM'd him, and I was like, "Yo, man, would love to have you on the show." I had Edgar on, Sally, Rick Seaback, like dropping some names. So
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah.
like, yeah, for sure. And then her friend texts her and says, does he not know that he's the scanner? And it blew my mind.
Yeah.
We've been to
Amazing.
dinner before, and I just had no clue. And I texted him, and I was like, bro, are you really the scanner? And he was like, yep. And it's
Like the amount of time and effort just sitting in front of a scanner trying to transcribe like what's going on.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be wild.
Those two guys are doing some good stuff.
And I love it because it's a lot of the stuff that you would never find in a local news thing, but it's almost fits perfectly and seamlessly into our show. Like
Absolutely.
obviously not the scary stuff, but there's a lot of people that get naked or do something wild and
hilarious
the
shit.
last one that we talked about on the show before we even came here, somebody got drunk and was riding a merry-go-round.
Shenley Park. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So it was late last night.
Yeah,
Oh, this was last night.
Yeah,
This just
last
happened?
night. Yeah, somebody just got drunk, had a bad night, and just got drunk and was riding the merry-go-round.
Having a time, man.
And then I believe the caller said that Satan was telling him to do it. But, like, that stuff doesn't make the news.
Yeah.
But it makes the Pittsburgh police scanner account, on.
And that's what's good about it. It adds a level of, personalization from Pittsburgh and also a level of authenticity.
Dude, it's what's going on in your neighborhood. Like
Absolutely.
we throw on the Mr. Rogers music behind it and just kind of like
Too good.
read them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that stuff is like that's what as a listener, that's what I want to have ingrained into a morning show. I want to be able to, because that's the stuff that we're following. The Pittsburgh personified counts. Things that are highlighting the city, whether they be bleak, still making some light of it. I saw the Pittsburgh personified account posted a picture of Mac Miller that said, "I fucking hate Donald Trump."
Yeah,
and those type of things are topical to the point where you work it into the everyday life.
There's a Pittsburgh meme for anything.
Everything.
Anything and everything, yeah. Like,
do you think
got sinkhole buses and everything?
That's one of the big ones for sure, the sinkhole buses. Do you think that you guys, do you think that, your job keeps you guys young, so to speak?
Oh, yeah.
Having to be kind of in touch with what's going on?
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. And I think like that has definitely got more pronounced to us in the past year because we've had video editing help, and we always knew, like I said, that we had good content. It was just problems getting it out. So now that we've had clips that have, like 1 million views on TikTok from Beyonce fans of us just singing a Beyonce song, and
people discovering us for the first time.
Yeah, from like outside of Pittsburgh.
You have a TikTok?
Different clips and stuff like that. Yeah. We each have one, and the station has one. And
is that something that you guys are running that?
Yeah. We're just doing it.
Run through us.
Now, what's like the, obviously you guys are, your ties, you bleed black and gold, but I mean, what's like the audience like across, you said you're appealing to new people that are just finding you.
It's weird.
We get people all the time because we have this feature through iHeartRadio where it's like a talkback feature, so somebody can just catch the podcast and not listen to the music, and it's just our show edited into like a nice little package for them. So we'll get people that leave us a talkback message, which they can when they're listening through our podcast, and Iowa. We have a bunch of listeners in Florida. Like we're doing this thing with Chef Tom from Gecko, where we're doing a test kitchen Friendsgiving thing, where we're going to go in, and we've had people just like, I'll catch a flight or I'll drive in. And
didn't you have a guy fly up here and go in studio from Florida?
Yeah. AJ from Clearwater. He's hung out before. Yeah,
unreal.
Like I feel like
that's all like new though. Like
as our
we're not
social,
used to that.
Yeah,
as our social has grown though, like our podcast reach has grown too. Like it's all gone hand in hand. And
Do you think
expanded.
that the podcast end of the show is a benefit for you guys? Obviously,
I mean, we're not really we're a radio show as much as we are a podcast at this point. It all works hand in hand. Like it's all,
when people just think we're just a radio show, I'm just like, that was like year 2 when we were here, where I used to go home at 10 o'clock and not think about it. Now it's like we're so much more than a radio show. Like we are YouTubers, we're influencers, we're always making social content, and if it's not for our show, it's for a client. So we're radio hosts, but we're also podcast hosts. We're also like the job titles of just us doing the show has grown over the years just because of what's required, not necessarily by the job, but required
in life.
By us to just keep like. We love doing this too, though. Like that's the main thing too, is like we love this shit. Yeah. Like talking about Pittsburgh stuff, we love this shit. We just do. And it's every day, no matter what's going on in our personal lives or the world or anything, just this city has magic to it. And for us to sort of for a big group of people to be able to be like, all right, let's see where we're going.
And I think at
today.
least on the podcast side and the social media side, like I think the show has grown where it's like, if somebody pulls up our podcast, they'll get the Pittsburgh stuff. They'll get to talk about local Pittsburgh Steelers and whatever else is going on for the day. But it's universal enough where they're just like, these guys are funny. Like this is a good show. I could listen to at all times, you know, and not be thrown off or pushed away because we are talking about something so Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, it got to be a benefit as well to not everyone is listening to the radio while they're at work throughout the day.
Yeah, for sure.
And, so people having that access to be able to just grab your show and just listen to it all cut down without the music, without everything like that. They get you without the other stuff that, they might not necessarily want exactly.
We say it multiple times a day, just like you might listen, the average drive time in Pittsburgh to work and back or work or wherever you're going is probably 15 minutes, maybe 25 at the most.
Yeah.
So you might catch the show for 15, 25. You might hear a song, you might hear us talk, whatever's happening. But like a lot of the times on people's drive home, they'll grab the podcast from the day.
Yeah.
And then we'll get all these messages about the show that happened, the day, and we'll play them back in the morning and we'll incorporate them into the next show. So the show never really stops. The podcast never really stops. It's all just one beautiful continuation of everything.
It's a good sort of circle of content now because people used to only, like we were saying, only be able to listen that morning, and if they missed it, they missed it. Now, not only can you get the show,
it's a through line now. You could stay, in touch with what is happening throughout it.
We'll still get people now through the iHeartRadio app because you can talk back to us through the app. You can send us a message.
How long has that been around?
That's a couple years, I think now. 2 years.
Probably close to 2, yeah.
We probably have to be two of the guys who use it most in the company. It's changed our show.
Yeah, that's a cool feature.
We were one of the first people they beta tested it on to see if it would work, if listeners would use it and stuff like that. And hell yeah, it works.
But honestly, it worked for us because we could never answer the phones because we were talking.
And we don't have a producer that can answer phones and screen anybody or anything else. So it's just
people hear you stop talking on the radio, they'll stop calling. But they think when you're talking, I want to talk about the Steelers. Let me call Mikey and Bob. Well, we're already talking about the Steelers and we don't have anybody who's screening our phones.
Yeah.
So
and now that gives you a way to listen through and kind of sort with what messages you could pull out the gems.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the good thing is too is people will, go on vacation or have something happen in their life. We all know. We all have our podcasts that we listen to. And if you have something going on where you miss a few episodes, we'll have people send us a message from 2 weeks ago. And then whatever they're talking about, we'll just be like, oh, hey, everybody remember this?
Yeah.
And then
we can incorporate this in, especially if they got some funny shit to say, you can incorporate it right back in.
Yeah, you constantly have taglines being added from, a whole listener base.
The show never ends, really.
And a lot of those people that consistently leave messages on our show, they've become characters on our show without even knowing it. And then we have people who will send messages and be like, hey, we haven't heard from, are they doing okay? And it's great, man. I don't know.
One of the newer things over the past few years that definitely was wild to me was seeing the crazy Italian guy.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
Thanks for listening. See you next week for part 2.